There is one piece of paper, one form that the government of Canada will never phone you about, never knock on your door about, and never send you a friendly little reminder to fill in. And yet, for a Canadian senior on a modest income, that single form can put more than $1,000 a month tax-free into your bank account on top of your old age security. Let me say that number a different way so it really lands. That is over $13,000 a year that thousands upon thousands of seniors in this country are fully entitled to and simply never collect. Not because they don't qualify, but because nobody ever handed them the form and said, here, this one's yours. So today, I'm going to hand it to you. I'll tell you exactly what the form is, exactly who qualifies, and I want you to stop assuming you earn too much, because that single assumption is the most expensive mistake a senior can make. Near the end, I'll show you an insider version of this, a second document that almost nobody knows about that can push your payment even higher. So get a pen, because by the end of this video, you'll know precisely what to file and precisely how much money it could be worth to you. I don't say any of that lightly. This isn't a trick, it isn't a loophole, and it isn't charity. It is money the government has already set aside with your name on the line item that you paid toward your whole working life. The only thing standing between you and it is one form that nobody ever told you to send in. I'm Dr. Elizabeth Thorne. I spent years analyzing Canada's retirement tax and benefit system. And the thing that still bothers me most after all these years is this. The system is built to collect from you the second you owe a dollar, but it will quietly sit on money that belongs to you for years and never say a word. The tax man finds you, the benefits wait to be asked. I'm not a financial advisor and I'm not selling you anything. I'm just going to walk you through the one form I wish someone had put in front of my own parents, so let's get into it. I want to be honest with you about why it works this way. A system that automatically paid out every dollar to every person who qualified would cost a great deal more than one that quietly waits to see who knows enough to ask. That's not me being cynical. It's just the arithmetic of it. The forms exist, the money is budgeted, but the effort of claiming it is placed squarely on you, the senior, at the exact stage of life when navigating government paperwork is hardest. So the people who end the year better off aren't luckier than you, and they didn't earn a dollar more. They simply knew which form to send and they sent it. Today, you become one of those people. So what is this magical piece of paper? It's the application for something called the Guaranteed Income Supplement, the GIS. The GIS is a monthly tax-free payment that sits right on top of your old age security for seniors whose income is on the lower side. And here is the part that stops people in their tracks. Your basic old age security, if you're between 65 and 74, is around $740 a month right now. The Guaranteed Income Supplement for a single senior can be worth up to about $1,100 a month on its own. Look at those two numbers side by side because it's astonishing. The supplement, the extra, can actually be larger than the old age security it sits on top of. For a senior living on just their OAS, claiming the GIS doesn't add a little bit to the check. It can more than double the government money landing in your account every single month. That is what one form does. Let me make that real, because numbers on their own can wash over you. Picture a woman, I'll call her Margaret, 68 years old, living alone in a small apartment, getting by on just her old age security. That's about $740 a month coming in. She's careful, she's proud, she's never asked anyone for anything in her life. And she is quietly going without, turning the heat down, skipping things she needs, because $740 does not go far anywhere in this country in 2026. Now, Margaret files her taxes and puts in that one application. Because her income is low, she qualifies for the Guaranteed Income Supplement near the top of the range. Call it around $1,100 a month. Her total government income goes from about $740 to over $1,800 a month overnight on paper with one form. That is the difference between a senior who dreads the first of the month and one who can breathe. And the tragedy is that a Margaret who never files or who talks herself out of applying gets none of it, and the government simply keeps quiet and keeps the money. Same woman, same rules. The only difference is the form. So the obvious question is, if this is worth over $1,000 a month, why on earth does anyone miss it? The answer comes down to three quiet reasons, and every one of them is fixable. The first reason is the big one. People stop filing a tax return. They retire, their income drops, and they think, I barely make anything now. Why would I bother filing? And that one decision switches off the GIS completely because the government calculates your GIS every year from your tax return. No return, no calculation, no payment. If money is tight, filing your taxes is not about what you owe. It's the doorway this check comes through. The second reason is the one I want you to fight the hardest. People decide all on their own that they earn too much to qualify. They never even apply, and they are wrong far more often than they are right. For a single senior, you can generally qualify for at least some GIS if your income, not counting your old age security itself, is under roughly $22,800 a year. For couples, the limits are different and often higher than people expect. Never disqualify yourself. You do not get to decide you don't qualify. The math decides. Your job is simply to apply and let the numbers speak. The worst thing that happens is they say no. The best thing is more than $1,000 a month you didn't know was yours. Remember, the guaranteed income supplement is not all or nothing. It's a sliding scale. Even if you don't qualify for the full amount, you might still qualify for a partial payment of a few hundred a month. Partial still spends. The third reason is that they were never automatically enrolled and no one ever told them to apply. For a lot of seniors, the GIS is added on automatically once you're getting old age security and you file your taxes, but not for everyone. Some people have to actually send in the application, and if you're waiting for a letter that's never coming, you could be missing this month after month. The fix is straightforward. File your tax return and then check directly with Service Canada through your My Service Canada account or by calling them whether your GIS is active. Getting the GIS is a master key that quietly unlocks other doors. In most provinces, being on the supplement automatically qualifies you for a provincial top-up. In Ontario, it's called Gains. British Columbia has its senior supplement, and most other provinces have their own version. You usually don't even apply separately. Being on the GIS switches it on. It very often goes further, unlocking extra help with prescription drug costs, dental care, property taxes, and energy bills. When I tell you this one form can be worth $1,100 a month, understand that the real number, once you count everything it unlocks, is quite a bit higher. Now, before I show you the insider document, I want to make sure you've got the foundation because the insider trick only works once you understand how the GIS is counted. The GIS is income tested. As a rough rule, for every extra dollar of income you bring in, your GIS drops by about 50 cents. But inside that rule is a completely legal way to increase your check. Not all money counts the same way for GIS. Money you take out of an RRSP or a RRIF counts as income and it will reduce your GIS. But money you take out of a tax-free savings account, a TFSA, does not count as income for the GIS calculation at all. Two seniors can pull the exact same $10,000 out of their savings in a year to live on. The one who takes it from a RRIF can watch their GIS get chopped. The one who takes it from a TFSA keeps every penny of their supplement. So the order you draw your savings in retirement can be worth thousands of dollars a year in preserved GIS. Let me also warn you about the mistake that quietly wipes out people's GIS, taking one big lump sum out of your RRSP or RRIF in a single year to fix the roof or help a grandchild. That one withdrawal can spike your income for that year and then chop your GIS for the entire following year. If you know a big withdrawal is coming, that is precisely the conversation to have with the tax preparer first, because spreading it over 2 years or taking it from a TFSA instead can save you thousands. All right, I promised you an insider document, a second form that can push a GIS payment dramatically higher. It's for couples. Imagine a husband and wife, both seniors, and one of them becomes ill enough that they have to move into a nursing home or a long-term care facility. They are still married, but now they are living apart. Most couples in that situation just carry on being assessed as a couple. Their two incomes are added together and they get little or no GIS. But when a couple is separated for reasons beyond their control, you can apply to have each of you assessed as a single person for the guaranteed income supplement. There is a specific form for this. It's called the Statement of Spouses or Common Law Partners Living Apart for Reasons Beyond Their Control, or Involuntary Separation. When you're assessed as two singles instead of one couple, the government stops adding your incomes together. Since one person's income alone is almost always far lower than the two combined, the GIS can jump by hundreds of dollars a month for each of them. Take a couple whose combined income means they get almost no GIS as a pair. One spouse goes into a care home. They file the Involuntary Separation Form, and now the spouse in care with very little income can suddenly qualify for GIS near the top of the range, and the spouse still at home qualifies too. On top of that, this can be paid retroactively for up to the last 11 months, meaning approval can arrive with a massive lump sum attached. If you are between 60 and 64, too young for your own old age security, and your spouse is receiving the GIS, or you've lost your spouse, There are two payments called the allowance and the allowance for the survivor designed to bridge those years. Almost nobody in that 60 to 64 window knows they exist. Now you do. So let me pull this together. The core of everything today is one form, the application for the guaranteed income supplement that can be worth up to about $1,100 a month tax-free on top of your old age security. It gets switched on by filing your tax return every single year. You must not disqualify yourself. You can legally protect it by being smart about drawing from your TFSA instead of your RRIF. And if a couple is split up by a move into care, the Involuntary Separation Form can push it higher still with a lump sum going back nearly a year. Everything I've just walked you through, I've put it all into one plain English guide I call the Smart Retirement Playbook. The link is in the description whenever you want it. Here is your action list for this week. Number 1, if you haven't filed your most recent tax return, get it done. Number 2, find out through Service Canada whether you are actually receiving the Guaranteed Income Supplement. Number 3, if you're not getting it and your income is near the limit, apply. Number 4, if a couple you love has one spouse moving into care, look into the Involuntary Separation Form. And number 5, before you pull money out of your savings, ask a tax preparer whether taking it from a TFSA instead of an RRIF could protect your supplement. 5 moves, every one of them puts money back where it belongs, with you. That $13,000 a year is not a gift, it is not a favor, and it is not something you should ever feel small about asking for. It is money set aside for you by a system you paid into your entire working life. If this helped you, do me a favor and send it to one other senior you care about. And subscribe, because plain English money that's actually yours is exactly what I do here. I'm Dr. Elizabeth Thorne. Go and claim what's yours.